I'm a giver, okay? And I think in a lot of relationships,
Stopped call social services on us.
This is so weird.
This isn't working. Let's get rid of them.
We just kind of
we
wing it. We wing it.
No, we don't.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dare to Venture podcast with me, Chris.
And me, Tamira.
This is episode 3. And just to give you a bit of an insight right now, it is currently 11:15, okay, at night. We've just done a huge CrossFit workout. We are tired, but we're committed to the podcast.
Well, I think what's happening is there's work going on in our apartment building, and in the daytime I think we set it up once and it was just like too loud drilling. I'm not sure what they're drilling.
I have no idea.
But they break at lunchtime, so you think it's okay, let's put it all out, it's going to be fine to film. And
then the drilling starts. It's almost like they're constantly putting up like pictures and stuff. It's just drill. It's not like a constant drill. It's on and off. So who knows? Maybe like an art museum is opening upstairs or something like that.
I feel like they're knocking down a wall, because it's not like then it goes into hammering. It's like a lot of drilling.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Strange.
That's why we're here at 10 p.m.
Yes.
The girls...
No, 11:15.
Oh, goodness.
It's almost 11 p.m. But we're committed. So we appreciate everybody who's listening and watching right now over on YouTube.
Yes.
So if you are, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, hit the follow button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star review if you want. It really does help. And also your comments, things like that. We love to read the feedback, and it really does help the podcast. So thank you all so much. But without further ado, let's get into episode 3. And the episode today, mainly the main topic is going to be about the girls, because yes, we made this big decision as a family. However, to parents of 3 young children, we essentially made the main big decision to do this. So what did that feel like? What did we do? What was the circumstances, everything like that? We want to talk about that today.
We're also going to talk about education, taking them out of education, how our experience was doing that, and what we have done the past 2 years to facilitate their education, and if we have any positives, if you have any negatives, and if we have places of doubt as well. So we're going to expand on that today. I feel like, again, it makes us feel... doing these podcasts kind of make us feel a little bit vulnerable. Like we're saying stuff that we haven't really said before. We do touch on little bits on our TikTok and YouTube about this, but
it's definitely more of a full-on insight, and we don't proclaim to be professional sort of homeschoolers or world schoolers or anything like that. We certainly are experienced now, but we're not doing that. We're just letting you into our decisions, what happened, and what we do to this day.
So please, no judgment. Just enjoy what we're talking about. And it's worked for us, and it's our point of view. But we feel the podcast, we're finding we're really being very open about everything. And I think this is going to be another episode that we're quite open with what we're doing and showing you an insight to it. And I hope it will help anyone out that's thinking about doing this, or just enjoy the ride of the story. What has happened this week?
What's happened this week? What's new with us this week?
What's new with us?
I would say for me,
you always go so personal. You don't talk about with us.
Well, it's
you
not
just
really.
Talk about yourself.
Okay. I've
got some points.
Do a little bit of the old personal. So I am 37 years old in 2 days' time. So it's Friday. My birthday is on Sunday.
And did you already get yourself a birthday present?
Yeah, I bought myself a couple of birthday presents, but they're all related to fitness, because we're just, like we've said recently, we're really into the CrossFit. So I actually bought myself, I'm going to sound super sad right now, but I bought myself, it's super exciting. I bought myself my own weightlifting bar, okay?
And by the way, I'm not sure if he's going through a midlife crisis or not, but it's okay because we're both enjoying it.
Yes.
But let us know if you think it might be a midlife crisis.
It's not a midlife crisis, it's cool. Okay.
He had to walk with this huge bar all the way from our apartment complex down to the gym carrying
20 kilos, by the way. So I bought my own bar. Look, we're at the gym tonight. It had a lot of admirers. There were
Did
many.
you use it?
I didn't use it because I was the coach, but there was a lot of admirers, and it was cool. So great birthday present. But yeah, a couple of days, I'll be edging further towards the 40s. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm in a good place. A lot of people sort of question and worry about getting older, but I sort of feel really quite happy with it.
You've always felt really positive about
Yeah.
growing older, so that's really good. I don't think it's daunting your birthday, but you bought yourself your birthday presents. That's done because I'm awful at buying them for you. I'll put my hands
basically I
up.
just buy all my own stuff.
Yeah, there's no pleasing you. I bought you a drink the other day, and you got angry with me that it wasn't
No.
the drink that you wanted.
Yeah, but it was just one of those situations where I had something in my head, like personally on my own, about a drink that I wanted. And it was in my head, and I could almost taste this particular drink. It was a thirst quencher. And you sort of like surprised me with a drink that I didn't want. And it was quite tricky to
It
deal
wasn't
with.
tricky. Basically, he said he didn't want it, looked
Yeah.
really upset, and then blamed me that he couldn't get the drink that he wanted.
I kind of was stuck, like drinking a drink that I didn't want.
Well, he was angrily staring at me while sucking the straw and not
it was-
enjoying the lovely
It
drink.
also, the drink, just to go in, it was a brown sugar bubble tea.
Which
and I'm a
was
big fan.
amazing.
I'm such a big fan, by the
Yeah,
way.
but wasn't at that moment. So how am I?
Because I almost see that as a bit of a dessert. And I didn't want a dessert. I wanted a thirst quencher. So I was like sucking on this high calorie dessert drink. Maybe it was a little bit ungrateful, but at the time,
I think the girls were quite shocked at your reaction
Yeah,
to it
they-
because they saw this amazing drink. Was like, oh, Daddy's going to be so excited. So this just goes to show. I'm just putting in context. I'm awful at buying Chris gifts, but he's also a terrible receiver.
I wouldn't say that you're awful at buying gifts. I think you're pretty good, and you know me. Yeah, I am a pretty bad receiver, but I'm kind of like the giver, I guess. I'd say I was more of a giver. Do you think? Are you a taker or a giver? Because I think I'm a giver. I'm not a taker, and I don't
No
receive too
comment. No comment.
well. I don't receive too well. I'm a giver, okay. And I think in a lot of relationships, you have
Stop.
givers and you have
I think
takers.
we've gone off track.
We've definitely on track. I'm a giver. I'm a giving person.
Okay.
And Tamara can vouch for that. Do you think? Okay, moving
Again,
swiftly on from the birthday.
No comment.
Okay.
Is that all that's new with you?
I think that's all that's new with me.
Okay. What is new with me and the whole family?
Yes, you do like the family update for everyone.
Okay. So, no, personally, with me, what is new with me? I'm going to let everyone in on an insight of something that I'm ridiculously rubbish at, but trying to get better with. And that is golf. Okay. I am not a golfer. I'm very sporty, but it's just one sport I've never done. And whilst traveling around, we have seen some insane golf courses.
Yeah.
Singapore, Dubai, Australia was covered in them.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like a little bit of an Achilles heel that I'm absolutely terrible at it. So we've started going to a virtual golf place.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn and I can hit the ball.
First thing is you have definitely improved. I'm genuinely into golf and I like golf, and I'm not a great golfer at all, but I can play a little bit. And when we see these courses, they are absolutely
Yes.
immaculate.
Yeah.
And you get the clothing, the equipment, very expensive sport, by the way, but the whole thing around it is pretty cool. And I'd quite like to play. And Tamara would also like to kind of join in and play with me. So she's been doing a training at the virtual golf, and it's been going pretty well.
Yep. So golf, I'm a prodigy. My aim is to be able to get on any kind of golf green without looking absolutely embarrassingly, shockingly awful, which in a little booth with a virtual thing is okay to
I
do.
think you're doing well. The next step we're going to go for is the driving range, and then we're going to go to a small pitch and putt.
Okay.
That's
okay.
that's Tamira's training plan right there.
So that's a personal thing. And then on the other side, which can potentially change how we're doing things a lot, we have registered the girls with an online school
Yes.
as a little bit of a trial. And that kind of goes in the theme of this week of what we're going to be speaking about. And we'll talk about the journey with what we have done already. But yes, they have signed on. They have had their induction this morning, and we're doing a little trial of our online school just to see how it works for them and for us as a family. I'll go into more of that when we've actually had a bit of an experience with it, because right now we're right at the beginning of it. But yes, that has happened this week as well, which has made me feel all sorts of feelings, which we will talk about when we start talking about the
main
education.
thing. Yeah, the education.
But that's what is new with us. Is there anything else that is new with us?
One thing I do need to say, and I spoke about in episode 1, and I've also mentioned it on our other social media platforms, is about a big announcement on Sunday. We are still going to make the announcement of what it is that we've been working on. And the idea was to be able to launch it this weekend, but it's just not going to be ready. So we're going to announce it this weekend. And then it will be sort of available by the end of the month. So we are going to announce it. So stay tuned on our social media platforms this Sunday. And we will be sort of sharing what we've been working on in the background. A really exciting project.
We are so excited about it. But it's another thing that I wanted to talk about, what's new with us. And this week, it was a realization that me and Chris have bitten off more than we can chew with certain stuff. So we've done a little bit of a de-scale back because we were getting a little bit overwhelmed with what we were trying to achieve in a certain amount of time. So we have had to pull back in certain areas to make it a healthy work, family situation. So this is something that we've pulled back on slightly, but it is happening and we cannot wait to announce it.
It's one of those where we could have really slapped it together and not given it what we wanted to give it, and we wanted to take a little bit more time to make sure it is what we want it to be. Stay tuned across our other social media platforms. Okay, so that is pretty much what is happening with us currently, what's been happening.
I think we're
with
pretty
us
much
past
up to date. Like, that's pretty much it.
So the girls, and where did they come in making this decision? And it has been probably one of the biggest things that people have commented to us across our social media since we started this journey. It was something that was really evident at the start, where people would comment a lot saying, you know, you've done it for yourselves, you're really selfish, you've ruined your girl's future.
I think we've even had it where people have said, call social services on us for doing this.
That's been used a few times. And obviously as parents, those comments do weigh heavy. You do sort of...
Oh, the mum guilt.
Yeah.
The comments on social media really do lay thick on you. But it wasn't just these comments either. It was when we told people we were leaving face to face. So friends, family, people that we saw on the school run. It was quite shocking. It's like, well, what do the girls think? As if it was like suddenly something.
Well, some people, when we told them, some people said, do the girls know?
Yes.
It was like, yeah, the girls definitely know. Like, it's not like we're just going to wake up one morning and say, surprise, we're leaving forever.
Well, I think it's pretty evident when they had no bed to sleep on, just on a mattress.
So it has been obviously evident. It's still questions that we get to this day about the children. How do they feel? Do they miss home? Do they miss their friends? What do they do about school? It is a massive thing that we get asked a lot about, and a lot of people interested in, and we understand this. It's because of them.
Yes.
Because without them, we are no family. We're not a family.
No.
They make us a family. And that was the root cause of the decision. And without them, there is no decision. There's no Hutchinsons in a way. So I think that they were right at the forefront of our minds throughout the whole time of discussing. They were always involved in all the talks we had, all the planning. And they were always there, a part of everything. We listen to how they feel. what they had to say about it, what they thought.
If we just set the scene of what a Monday used to look like for us, I would be rushing around to get out the door for work, and it was your school run morning. And this is from the girls' point of view of how they felt. I was way more uptight because I had to get ready, have to have their lunches ready, have to make sure their hair's done because you're useless at doing their hair.
Yep.
And Olivia, she's been going to school and taking it on. But in the morning, she used to have this focus of like, she didn't really speak too much. She was in this motion of, I'm going to school.
Yeah, like almost like armor on.
Yes. She like shielded up. She suited up to go to school. She put that the uniform on. She was like, right, I'm ready for school. Scarlett was a crying mess. Emotions all over the shop. Yes. And it would happen from a Sunday night when she realised that that would be what would be happening in the morning. And it happened every week. It never changed. And she wasn't horrified going into school. It wasn't like this attachment to us. It was like she just didn't ever want to go. But nine times out of 10, you'd pick her up on a Monday, still not me picking up on a Monday, and she'll come bouncing out with a massive smile, and she has enjoyed it. But in hindsight, that was the way that they were reacting to education.
Yeah.
They did have friends, but not really iconically close. But Scarlett did, and she still does, and she's very close to that person. But I can't talk about that without welling up and crying, and that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
But when that was pulled apart, she didn't manage to reattach to anyone else. And I think Olivia was just going through the motions because that was what life was. And
Yeah, Olivia almost sort of like takes the world on her shoulders, puts her armor on, goes into school and gets through it. And these things would be, as a family, as a working family, you wouldn't really get chance to think about what you were going to try and maybe do about it, or you just, the time would just go.
Well, you just end up thinking, which is, well, what I was thinking was, they will get used to it.
Yeah.
This is what life is. And that's just what I thought. They'd have to get used to the fact they have to go to school, used to the fact they have to wear a uniform, used to the fact they're ticking those boxes for schools to go up their leadership board and get higher up. Going through all of that, that was what life was. And then after that, you've got to go to higher education because you're achieving higher. And then you've got to go and get an academic job or a job of some sorts in that specific way. You get up at 9 o'clock, you go in there and you dread it and you don't look forward to it and you look forward to the weekend. And I've gone quite deep there.
And as a family, we were obviously working like here and there. We barely had family time together. We mentioned this in the last podcast. So like to sort of be together as a close family and talk about school and how we felt about it, and digest it and stuff like that. We didn't really get time. It was the girls went to school, we went to work, we squeezed family time in when we could, and that was it.
Oddly, the YouTube channel was a massive bit of fun at the weekend.
Yeah.
And we'd do a video, like sometimes we did like this world series where we went to different locations in the UK that were known to celebrate a different culture at that time.
Yep.
We did a series on that and the girls loved it.
Yes.
We also did challenges where they had to eat a certain colour all day and they're fully involved. And then
The YouTube videos really were an escape
Yes. Yeah.
from the craziness, the hamster wheel.
it was weird. It was like a family.
Yeah.
We went to all of the Christmas markets and rated them. But would we have done that without the video? I don't know.
I don't think so.
And that's it. Well, I don't know. It was so enjoyable.
Because of the YouTube video, you had to think of the content going into it, and then the family just came together, and it was an escape from all of the craziness, all of the hamster wheel. And going back to the series where we visited different parts of the UK that had different cultures in them, the girls loved it and we loved it, and it's kind of where this was born a little bit.
That was how it all kind of was birthed, but the girls were along the whole entire way
Yeah.
of you know, when we started talking about traveling and going to different places, the girls absolutely loved holidays. And it wasn't just to be lying by the pool, because I don't think me and you have ever really done that. We think we wanted to go do that, and then 2 hours later we're ready to go and explore and go have a look at something. So the girls have experienced holidays where we've done different stuff. They love seeing new places, trying new foods and of such, which is another point to talk about. Olivia with her food before traveling. She was so tricky. She was just a beige eater, which just meant...
she was an incredibly picky eater.
Yes. And I was finding it so hard to feed her. It was such a limited stock that she would only eat if I provided it. So if she was going to other people's houses, or sometimes I'd have to come to the nursery or work, she just wouldn't eat. And we got really concerned about it.
Yeah, I think that as well, it's another situation where trying to find, it sounds bad, but trying to find the time to deal with that and think about the different processes we could approach to help her with it. It was, I mean, people listening, watching this, they'll probably understand that, like, sometimes you haven't got time. You're just like, look, that's what's for dinner.
Yeah.
It's cooked, it's there, eat it, because we've got to move on. You've got to go to bed, you've got to be up for school the next morning. We've got to go do this, we've got to do that. And it's just a never ending, insane cycle. And Olivia, with her eating, was a massive thing for us. And we knew that she was a picky eater. We knew that she wouldn't eat a lot of things. She would only eat certain things. But we didn't really see the effect on her until she got that little bit older. I remember we'd been on holiday and we took some holiday photos.
Oh my goodness. No, I think it was the moment we realised.
It was like a real slap in the face.
We had a slightly underweight child.
Yeah, she was 6 years old. It was her sixth birthday. And I remember the photographs, and we looked at them and we were so shocked. She was stick thin. Like,
she was
so stick thin.
And she could actually fit into Scarlett's clothing. That was 2 years younger than her.
Yeah.
That was a turning point. We made it a real point of making sure she was just eating a lot of food. And we put
a lot of what she would eat.
Yes.
But I remember
we just didn't care about what she was eating as long as she had food going into it. And I actually pulled certain times where she was going to eat food at other people's places, and I had to really think about, yes, you get free school meals, which are great. Olivia wasn't eating them.
No.
And I wasn't getting told she wasn't eating them.
So she would just literally not eat all day.
Yeah, all day.
And I remember those pictures, and it really hit you. You got really emotional.
I was really upset about it,
over seeing it, and it just shocked us so much. So we did adjust, and we did do that. But her picky eating didn't change, like you said. We just gave her more food that we knew she would eat, and it wasn't necessarily the best food.
Oh, we also upped a lot of exercise, so she was absolutely starving because she was
she was swimming. She was
swimming,
starting to get competitive with swimming.
Yes, yeah, and that really helped because she was just eating more because she was hungry. And when I made the change and the way I was treating her, it got loads better. But the reason that I'm talking about the food is we cannot believe how good she is with food now.
Oh.
It wasn't like it straight away traveling.
No.
We still had to find, I remember in Shanghai still having to find chicken nuggets from McDonald's because she wouldn't eat the beef noodles.
Yeah. It was a slow and steady thing, but it was little sort of bits of improvement at a time. So there were no way, I mean, we were sort of wondering how she would get on traveling and stuff. We kind of knew we could get pretty much stuff that she would eat.
Toast.
Yeah. But I can honestly say it's something that we talk about quite a lot, and it is one of the most incredible
transformations.
Like, Olivia will eat anything pretty much.
She'll still have her moments if she's a bit stressed and she's not feeling her food. I can see it. But now she basically eats anything and challenges herself with stuff to try stuff, and then she gives it a go. And I think it's one of those moments of going, you know, when people ask us about the girls and like take them out of education, take them out of the system, and like, oh my God, like you're not doing the right thing, you're terrible, like they're not learning, they're not going to get all the grades, you're robbing them of education, which we get a lot. And I'm going, well, my daughter will sit there and eat chicken tikka off her own back of wanting to go eat it. There'll be no chance.
And she'll try different foods, foods that we would be like, actually gobsmacked that she's willing to try. And
Don't we're not going that she tries.
yeah, it's not like I'm a
octopus
celebrity, get me out of here. Bush Tucker
No,
trials.
but the transformation.
It's incredible. It's
Yes.
something that, as parents, we are incredibly proud
Yes.
of. And we know our children, parents know their children. And Olivia, what effect that has had on her is just life-changing.
I think it's life changing.
And we don't know what would have happened if we'd have continued, because she didn't show any changes before we travelled.
No.
So that is one clear example for us as to what benefits this lifestyle choice has had. That's just one example. And it really is something that we really do feel proud of, thankful of. And
also scared if we
Yeah.
continued on the route that we were,
Yeah.
of not seeing that change and actually being a problem going into adulthood. So that is one of the many stories that we can say about the girls and how they are different from prior to leaving. But when we were looking at doing this process, the girls were involved in the process
yeah.
the whole entire time.
Completely. We always spoke to them about how we felt, asked them about how they felt. It was always really, really positive, and it was something that we just said, they're involved with all the decisions. We're not going to make these decisions and just tell them that this is happening. And that was something that we really wanted to do from the start. Then we went into the process. We made the decision. They were fully aware of it. And like we said in our last episode, the house sale got approved. We got the offer. And when the trigger was pulled and this thing was definitely happening, we then had to begin the process of telling school. And then they had to begin the process of telling their friends and things like that.
I wanted to just go on the fact of we put the house up for sale with the girls knowing the house that they were born into was going to go, and they had so much fun clearing out that garage and finding all of their toys.
Yeah, their old stuff.
Their old stuff, and it's amazing what you accumulate in those years. But they had no problem knowing that these belongings weren't used anymore, and it was a fun process. They were involved the whole time. Like,
They amaze us. I'm sure, like, children amaze parents
they're
because
so adaptable.
they're so adaptable,
Yeah.
and our girls were no different from that. They're like their family home. It's all they knew. It's all they were born into. But the way that they adapted to what was happening is just, again, absolutely incredible.
We stripped everything away, and we finished up on their home, everything they've ever known.
Yeah,
They were sat on the floor watching
a race across the world.
yeah, that's it. Eating a Domino's on that
Yeah.
last night, and they did not care. They've been
didn't bat an
sleeping
eyelid.
on the floor on their mattresses for about a month.
Yeah.
And
And I
they
guess
enjoyed the experience.
They enjoyed it. It's all exciting, but not once did we, at the point of leaving, did we think, oh, I don't think we've done the right thing for them. That they're
No.
not. They were full on in, just as we were, and it just, till this day, it just amazes us to think back at how they handled all that, and it was just incredible.
We all knew what we were doing. We all knew way before we told a lot of people. And then it came to the point of the trigger was pulled, which meant I had to inform the school that I was going to be pulling the girls out of education. And I had no idea where to start with this. We understood, and we had research, we understood that you can opt out of sending them to school. And it was like, okay, we'll just opt out, but what is the process with
Yeah,
the
what does it mean? And you sort of think, no, this can't be right.
There's not a website that you go on and go opt out of education.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I don't know, because this is our right to do it. So in the end, we decided the best option was to email the head teacher and ask for an appointment to meet her.
Yeah, to explain the situation and find out the process. But as parents, you sort of you don't know if this is real, if you can take your children out of school. You've got no idea. You kind of have to dive a bit deeper and find out for yourself. So we had no idea what the process would be,
No.
if we'd have to go through interrogation, anything like that. But we arranged the meeting with the head teacher and just went in and sat down, explained everything to her.
Which she reacted amazingly. She was super excited for us. She couldn't really understand that we weren't going to have an address anymore and there was no forwarding on address. But she explained to us basically when we were ready to go, we just need to send an email saying, we're ready to go, and just pull them out of school, and that was it, done. But we were very forcefully told that as soon as we forfeit that position in school, the next day they will fill it and there's no going back.
Yeah.
So to be completely certain.
Like there's basically a waiting list. And, you know, the children basically are just a number, and our children got moved out and other children got moved in. It's basically that, it's that process.
That's what we got told. And basically, they can't ever guarantee a spot back in that school. And all was kind of like, it was just like a system, just like work, just being told. Yeah, the girls have been there and you've got an emotional attachment to the school. It's part of your daily life, the school. And it's suddenly just going, oh, they don't really love Olivia and Scarlett as much as we love them, and their position is just going to be put to the next person. Okay, all good. But she did advise us to leave it right to the last minute, because as soon as we say that they're not in education anymore and they're not at the address, they will send someone around and check if
to check
you
that
were
you've
in.
left, that you're not at that address.
Yes.
It's all basically for files and documents and covering their end. But we just basically had to explain in an email that we were forfeiting the girls' place, and they were going to be home educated from now on. And that was it. It ticked the boxes. We did leave it until like the last minute because we were informed and advised to do that. It was pretty straightforward, and it is as simple as it sounds, basically. We had no sort of meeting with a council or the local governing body, or you sort of start worrying that you're going to get put under spotlight. The school told us that they were going to inform the local council, and it's all basically files and paperwork, and it was all fine.
Do you remember we had the conversation with the headmistress, and then we decided that we were going to tell their personal teachers?
Yeah.
We also managed with that, we squeezed in the most real parents' evening we have ever had, because a parents' evening came up and the teachers knew that the girls were leaving, and the things that the teachers revealed to us.
You got a real insight, because the children were no longer students of that school. We were just random parents at this parents' evening, and they could be a little bit more, I guess, open and relaxed because we weren't going to be at that school anymore. So we did get a real insight as to actually what it was like for the girls.
And what was happening at school, and how understaffed they are, how many children in that class. I think Olivia's was quite disruptive.
Yeah.
And we kind of got told that Olivia's okay with no attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing for us. I mean, we know Olivia's well behaved. She gets on with it and she does her best. But definitely with more pushing and more help, she could achieve, the achievements could be endless. You expect to be pushed. And if somebody's a good pupil, can you make them into a great pupil, and so on. But Olivia's particular class was quite a disruptive class, and the teacher basically said that Olivia probably won't be looked at for the rest of the year. And this was May, so you've got like a few months of the year left, and it was almost like Olivia will just tick over in the background because, again, the understaffed side of things, troublesome children, they were going to be getting the attention, not the pupils that were just okay and didn't really need much overseeing. And that's what we were told, and we were like, this is so weird.
So we went from that one, it was quite weird, and we drifted over to Scarlett's class, and we kind of got the vibe that the teacher still didn't particularly know her or get her as an individual, and that particular teacher had taught her for 3 years. She didn't really know what to say about Scarlett on any personal level or any.
Which
it was
also is
just her numbers of what she was doing in tests.
yeah, kind of like the tick the box. This is what she's doing at this level, and this is it, and it's all good. But nothing personal about Scarlett, and like how are you meant to get the best out of someone if you don't really know them, if you don't know how they learn the best or how they are in situations. Like, you still expect the teacher to know your child after 3 years. But evidently they didn't really know her. So we left those parents' evenings kind of like a bit of a pat on the back to us. It was like, you know what? We're going to be doing something different, at least, even if it was for 12 months. We're going to be doing something different for our children. And if they just stay here, like even for the next few months, they're not going to be getting any attention.
Yeah, and this is where mum guilt went to a really low level. And I was like, yeah, come on, let's go do that. But that was like leaving the school system. And the day did come when we were packing up the last day. And the girls had finished their last day at school and they were off school because we were leaving the home at midday. It wasn't our home anymore, so they were actually off school. And yeah, they sent 2 employees
Yeah,
over.
they did. They sent people around. They followed their word, basically. We were due to be out of the house by midday. They sent 2 random people to our house at like 10 a.m. knocking on the door. I was like on my final tip run to just get rid of the last few bits.
Right, you weren't there,
Yeah.
but whilst you weren't there, I was emptying the last bits out of the freezer, and the girls were having lollipops and dancing around the garden. And these 2 people knocked on the door just to check that we haven't stolen our children out of the education
And just
system.
in hiding in our own house.
In our own house. And I opened the door and the girls were like celebrating in the back garden with ice cream. I was like, yeah, we are leaving, but we're still in this house until...
It was just so weird. I obviously
Yeah.
got back and I just found it really, really ridiculous. These people were just so random. They just wanted again to tick a box.
Yes, that we weren't at the property anymore.
Yeah,
It was
and it
very
was like-
clear we were moving out, even if the girls were eating our sollies.
And they literally said, we will be back at 12. So I was quite annoyed. And I was like, why have we got pressure on here to leave? We've already got all this other stuff we've got to sort out. And I'm thinking about them. But we were out in time and we never saw them again after that. But yeah, they followed up. They came round. They knocked on the door.
And that is the last time we heard anything
Yeah.
from the education system in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK. We've heard nothing.
Nothing from a homeschooling perspective of someone checking up on them. We've heard nothing.
Yeah.
We also do have an address, a UK-based address,
And nothing's come there
and
either.
nothing's come there either. So we haven't been chased at all on that fact. We then left the UK and pure mum guilt took over me.
Yeah, well, it's that first initial wave of, oh, wow, where this is it
We are
now.
really responsible for their education, their future,
It's on us.
their qualifications. I'm like, it's okay, Bella's only 2.
Yeah.
We're okay for that one. And Scarlett's only 6 and Olivia's only just turned 9, so we're okay. But then we arrived at our first location. I was like, wait, homeschooling. We have to be homeschooling definitely every single day. And I was really intense on it. And we researched everything about the place that we were at. We wrote loads of stuff. I bought journals. Do you remember the journals?
Journals, yeah, that really from Amazon. They were
Yes.
like really nice picture.
Yeah, yeah.
They were quite cool.
They were really, really cool. And I thought, great, they're going to do a journal every day. And the journal, I'm just going to put my hands up, it totally did not work for the girls. There'll be one day they'd write it really nicely and love doing it. And then another day, they would hate the fact they'd have to write it. The handwriting was terrible and hated it. And in the end, I went and looked through the journals and went, this isn't working. Let's get rid of them.
Yeah.
But there's a mum guilt massively as well, because I took the parent role and the teacher role. And I was the one saying, we are going to be doing this now. And I think the girls still to this day find that a little bit odd.
Yeah.
That I've decided today we are doing homeschooling.
Like your mum and teacher as well. Like I've done the odd day, but you've taken the whole time of their education, which is massive. and you've done it incredibly well.
Oh, I don't know.
Incredibly well.
There's sometimes I can be singing and dancing to Chris and being like, oh, we have had the best day. Oh, I'm so glad that we're home educating. I'm so glad we're world schooling and homeschooling. And oh my God, I've learned so much. They're so good. Blah, blah, blah. And the next day I'll be going, oh no, I'm
It's
not
all
doing
over.
enough. It's not good enough. And I'm there in tears.
Yeah.
And it's not gone well. The girls have been cross with me. I've been cross with them.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
it's just not worked out
and
there.
it hasn't worked. So whilst we've been travelling, the education has been solely kind of on my broad shoulders. But you've tapped in occasionally,
Yeah.
if not very regularly.
I've done bits. But you have done.
And you are going to hold the fact that you taught Bella to count to 10.
Yes, I am. That was a big. Again, like,
Mummy went to the gym.
yeah, and I had homeschooling for that day, and I taught Bella to count to 10. And it was great. And it's one of those moments, like, as a dad, working dad, it would be really hard for me to get that time. But now I've got a moment with me and Bella where I did that, and it makes me feel so proud. I'm smiling right now because it's like, I know how it felt, I know what it was like, I know where we were in Chongqing in China, and yeah, it's one of my proud moments. One of my only very limited moments of the homeschooling, world schooling. Tamara's been incredible the whole time.
I'm just going to say that you rounded that up to a whole day. It was just when I went to the gym.
Yeah, it was an hour. But Tamara's done the majority.
I've done it all basically, and
And
Chris has done little bits here and there. It kind of worked that wherever we go to, we research about the place, then we go out, experience the place, then we write up the place with apps that I could use for them to do a little bit of English, a little bit of Spanish, Chinese, and a little bit of maths as well, just to top it up whilst we were traveling. And then it became, when we were in places longer, that I would look at the English curriculum and I could see what everyone's doing in the UK, and I'd pick down the subjects related to what we're actually experiencing, and I'd use tools where I'd find videos and worksheets and put them all together. And it's kind of evolved a little bit like that when we're in places a little bit longer, I'm way more set with what the English curriculum is and they're following that. When we're traveling, it's a bit more on the road, a bit more world schooly, with a little bit to top up. And sometimes we're actually really relaxed with that because they're learning quite a bit, and traveling can get a little bit tiring.
I think it has just been a real mix of home education and world schooling. And I think that due to the 2020 period, there is a lot of resources out there.
Oh, so many. I use a lot of the lessons that have been recorded in that period. So they are quite a few years old.
On YouTube.
On YouTube that I use. So if there's something that I don't fully understand or want the girls to actually have a lesson on it, I will search that subject and I will find a video and I'll send it to them and then back it up with a worksheet. But this is all different things that we've tried, because a massive big failure that hasn't worked for us is, one, the journal, and two, they don't particularly like using apps.
No. Well, there were at the start, because the apps can be a little bit more game-like and fun, but that quickly wears off.
Yes.
So it has definitely developed away from applications and more into real schooling, but it's been more work for you. And I do think that the schooling, I mean, it's not always perfect, and some days it's a complete catastrophe, like we've said, and it has been developed a whole way along. You have done absolutely incredibly well, amazing, and we've kind of got them to the position where they are already pretty much trained for this online school.
Yes.
It's a very similar thing. They have lessons that they can watch. They've got worksheets and things to follow. It's something completely brand new to us, and we will be talking a little bit more about that in a couple of episodes' time. But that is something very exciting for us. and for the girls as well. And I think that touching on this opportunity, so they're going to be ambassadors of this online school. And like we said earlier, they've all the way along over the past 2 years, they've done language learning. They've learnt Chinese for a lot of the time, which they got to put into practice in real life situations in China.
I'm so proud of them for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they have also learnt Spanish, and that was through another opportunity that we got to be ambassadors for Rosetta Stone. And these opportunities have all come about from the work that we've done with our social media and our business. And just touching on that in the next episode, that's where we're going to be talking more about our income, about social media, about content creation. But what we've done for our work is we've managed to provide the education for our children. Not just the worldly education of going out to these different places, but also to get opportunities to work with big companies and give us that. And we're really proud of that. It's something we should like pat ourselves on the back for, because it's a big thing, and we're super proud of it. So this is a new direction we're going in.
It's a new direction, and like I said, like going right back to when we pulled them out of school and took education on it for, you know, our responsibility. We're now in year 3 of them being out of education, and we're just kind of moving in that direction now. But for us, what they've learned and the children that they're turning into, have the girls, this is my question to you, have the girls ever told you they want to go back and go to school?
Never. They've
Hand on
never,
heart.
hand on heart, they have never ever said it. Never. They and going back with their friends and the social aspect, they had friends at school, and they do miss them, and they do keep in touch with certain friends via WhatsApp or whatever. But they've never missed school and that whole situation. We've asked them plenty of times, because we talk, like I've said, as a family a lot, and they've never ever said that, oh, I'd like to go back to school, or I miss it. They've been incredible with the homeschooling and the world schooling, and they've learnt so much. Certainly the travelling, certainly the language, the cultures, the currencies. They're incredible with all this, and sometimes they really shock us as to what they've learned, and realising actually what they've learned.
We are so ridiculously proud of them. It will never ever go away, mum guilt or parent guilt. But I must say, comparing how I felt in the UK of them going into education, I felt like I was a terrible mother all the time. I was failing them. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't dressing them in the right outfit for school. I wasn't thinking about school that much. I felt bad towards that. And now I get so many more waves. I still got my mum guilt, but I get so many more waves of like, oh, it's
Pride.
so good.
Yeah.
Pride, amazing. I can see how they're growing. I just wanted to touch on as well, I'm not going to go massive into this, but you really think, oh, socialisation with other children. The girls have actually made loads of friends.
They've met loads of friends along the way. Yes, they miss friends from home, but they've met so many different children along the way, and also they have each other, and their bond with each other is incredible as well. So, you know, there's all these things about the children being lonely, not socialising, and get a lot of comments like that, but we've had no problems at all with any of that. And we're lucky. And there's so many more people doing this thing, like what we're doing, than you would realise. And it's when you start travelling and start doing this type of stuff, even home educating, there's massive communities. So yeah, we're really fortunate about that. But it's now time for a new feature.
Which, drum roll.
Yes.
Which is my legs slapping, by the way. I'm sorry. It doesn't. No, it doesn't sound good. All right, we have a new feature, and this was from some feedback, and I have stolen this because it was such a good idea.
Yes.
So thank you, Josie. Thank you.
Thank you, Josie, from the Roaming Rascals.
Give them a follow. Another travelling family that we met on the road.
Yes, here in Penang. So this is Spin the Wheel.
No, it's not.
Okay. Tamara's got the official name. Go on.
Destination Spin.
Destination Spin.
There we go.
Welcome to Destination Spin. We've got to spin the wheel. I've got 5 destinations that we've been to on here, and I need to spin the wheel. Whichever one it lands on, we have to tell a funny story from that location.
A funny story, or can it be any story of remembrance?
Any story.
Okay.
Okay.
What are the countries on the list?
we have China, Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, and Australia. 5 different countries that we visited during the past 2 years, and I'm about to press the button right now. Sorry if you're not watching, the visual's not there, but I will do a sort of theme tune. Ready?
That's Bluey.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm singing Bluey, but it has landed on Thailand. Do we want a bad story or do we want a good story?
I have got a bad one, so let's go for a bad one and a good one.
You want a bad one? Go.
I'm going to go for a bad one because it's the main thing of Thailand that I remember.
Yes.
And I got dengue fever and it was horrific.
Yes, Tamara got dengue fever. She was in bed for a week. It was horrifically bad. That was a period when I stepped
I
up
knew you
on
were
the
going to talk about the
homeschooling right there.
Has not let me forget that 1 week in Krabi.
Yeah, and that is a term I often bring up. Don't forget that 1 week in Krabi.
And I was near death.
She was rough. Dengue fever, yes, it happened to us. It was our second country that we'd been to. I did take the children to 7-Eleven every single day for lunch. And then we chose a different restaurant on a night. We got to know the local area very well, and the locals got to know us very well. And then all of a sudden we had a mum again who came back from the dead. And yeah, it was bad. We always go with illnesses with, if you're improving and you've got a bit of medication in like paracetamol, which we could get, then everything's going okay. And the improvement was slow, but Tamara was adamant she didn't want to go to hospital. And we got through it, but it was rough.
It was really, really rough. So that's the main one that kind of came to my head. You told the story. Thank you very
Sorry.
much.
It's really strong in here, that 1 week in Krabi. Come on.
For goodness sake. Okay, let's try. You have to think of the funny one then.
A funny one. Not so long ago, the last time we were, it's the same place actually, we're in Krabi. We have been all over in Thailand, but Scarlett
Oh no, I think
got given one of these sort of motor fans under the water.
I'm going to tell the story because you were actually editing in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But the girls were filming a YouTube video, and I thought it'd be a great idea to go down to the pool and get one of these the jetpack things that have a spinny thing that pull you along in the water. And I was like, right, that'd be really good with the camera. This is what we did for the afternoon. So I got that. They were playing along with it. Bella was having a go, which was really hilarious. Looking, this 4-year-old bobbling along, going across the water. And she rode over the top of Scarlett. I'm going to have to try and not say this without laughing. And all of Scarlett's ponytail got wrapped around the interior of the fan and was attached. So I had to get Scarlett and Bella out of the water with this massive floaty device attached to Scarlett's head. And I was like, oh my goodness.
It was literally a massive, motor fan attached to Scarlett's head. And then I was up in the room editing. I looked out the window and there was a team of Thai sort of lifeguards and bar people.
Let me ask you this very, very big question.
Yeah.
Did you come down to the pool?
No. I made sure that the situation was okay by conversing with Tamara. She let me know it was okay. But apparently they had to take the machine apart.
Why are you telling the story? You're not even here.
Get her hair
You're not
out.
even there. Were you just viewing it from the balcony?
It was dramatic.
And you didn't come down. It was pretty crazy. Basically, the guys were so apologetic. Scarlett lay down on a lay low. There's about a team of 5 of them trying to get her hair out without breaking the hair. They basically pulled the whole machine apart with no care for this expensive looking machine to save Scarlett's hair.
That's precious golden locks.
I was just ready to cut it off. I was apologetic that her hair was wrapped up in this thing, and Bella had rode over her. But anyway, yep. So she
Moral
saved
of the story
hair.
is, don't give your 4-year-old a motorised fan on her own in a swimming pool to go around, because she drove over her sister's head and got the ponytail caught in. But it was all fine. 2 minutes later, they were all back in the pool again, doing
it. And then then the hotel gave us it for extra hours and a higher up version as well.
for free.
So the girls were whizzing around the pool and Scarlett's hair was put up in a bun.
And there we have it. That is Destination Spin.
There we go. Okay, so we're now going to answer some listener comments. Now, these were all from our Instagram, which is actually our family page, so not on our Dare to Venture pod page.
Yeah, it was from at the Hutchinson family on Instagram.
Yeah, and it was on stories. So I have got a couple, well, I've got loads and loads of questions. So we're going to start off with a big one, and it's from Maria Travels, or Maria Travels. I might be saying that wrong, but I'm sorry if I am saying it wrong. Maria Travels. Budgeting would be super helpful. Thank you.
Okay, budgeting. So this was part of the big planning that I did prior to leaving the UK. And I did research on accommodation, how much it would cost, and then a rough cost of living, food and things like that. Now, what I would say is, as a full-time traveling family, the general plan for us was to have longer term stays in places, in Airbnbs and things like that, and have a slow travel approach, because we knew that like bopping round from place to place would just be completely wiping us out. So we did longer term stays at places, which generally brings the cost amount down per night. So what I worked out was £35 per night on accommodation, and £35 per day on living expenses. So £70 per day in total to live off. And that was our budget for the first 12 months of travel. Now, sometimes the accommodation was way lower than that. So
Yeah.
we managed to save quite a bit, but sometimes we'd spend more than that, than the £35 on food, if we were eating certain things or having experiences and things. So it was a bit of give or take, but in general, we stuck to that. And you could be surprised, certainly with accommodation, how cheap you can get it when you do your research and you deep dive. And I looked on Airbnb, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Agoda, and Trip.com, things like that. You've just got to do your research, look around at different places, and you can find some really good accommodation. That is what we did budgeting.
There we go. So that's like an insight as to how we set off and budgeted. And some days we went way over that, and
Yep.
other days we went way under that. So there we go. We use that as a guideline. Okay, we have another question from Nandum Nisha.
Doing well with these names.
I'm not very good at reading names. I'm really, really sorry. Just as we've done an educational talk about everything.
Yeah.
I'm not the best at reading these names, so I'm really, really sorry. But her question was, what are the major challenges when pursuing this lifestyle? And I'm going to answer this one of one of the main ones that we find, and that is tiredness.
Yeah.
Okay. We are a family of 5 that are around each other 110% of the time. So it means you can get a little bit niggly. You can't find the headspace. It's too noisy. Now, if you add on that tiredness and traveling and moving time zones, or a big travel day, or we've done a big experience, it means the next day you're really, really tired. This is where, as a family of 5, you can get so niggly. You can get really petty about stuff, really worked up about stuff. And I think that is one of the main challenges as a family whilst traveling, especially if you're in a smaller accommodation, you're living right on top of each other.
Hotel rooms.
Yes.
One room. Yeah.
Yes. That can be your challenges.
Hunger.
Which
you
then
know.
moves me on to providing food
Yeah.
for 3 meals a day. Now, and snacks, because if it was just me and Chris and you're just a couple, we can probably go down to like 1 meal a day with snacks around it. But children need to be fed continuously.
Yeah.
So that's another challenge whilst pursuing this lifestyle. And if you are just in a hotel room, I think the girls have had cereal out of coffee mugs.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of adapting to your environment, and that can become quite hard. And I think the main thing is basically boiling down to those travel days, and you arrive and the accommodation isn't great.
It might not be
You're
what you
tired.
expected. You're tired. You're hungry.
You're hungry.
You're narky with each other.
I've got to set out the beds because there's 3 children, and sometimes there isn't really enough space, and I have to quickly sort that out. And then I'm like, oh, we've got to get something to eat. And
But in the early days, look, those were all new experiences for us. But now we understand what that's like. And we kind of
We put things in place.
Put things in place.
We put things in
We
place.
used to, we're experienced, but yeah, in the early days, it was quite difficult going through those for the first time. But we've definitely got used to it, and you will get used to what works for your family.
I think I've got one more, and this is from Anita Honeyman. How do you get the motivation to work out, teach everything? You do so many big things. I liked that one because it gave us a lot of compliments.
Thank you.
But I think with these things, we are showing what we do and that we are very energetic people anyway. But it doesn't mean that there isn't days where we just sit in and put back-to-back movies on and have popcorn and we don't chill out and we, go by the
have
pool.
a chill day.
Yes, we do have chill days, but we are quite go-getter people.
Yeah.
And we like to be busy, and we like sitting down on the evening, have a chat with the girls with what we have achieved that day, what we've done. So it's just kind of who we are.
It's kind of who we are. We've always been into fitness, working out, even since like us individually as kids. We've obviously like put that onto our own children, who are also really active. So we put a big emphasis on working out, and we need it. We need it for our sanity. Like we don't feel good if we aren't working out like regularly. So that's just always been a big part of it, and we just try to find time to slot it in. It's hard sometimes when you're traveling and bopping around places, but there's always an option of hopefully going out for a run or hotels with a gym.
I've done that a lot, yeah.
So we work it out for ourselves, but we have got good energy, and again, you can kind of contribute that to working out and having a healthy and active lifestyle, which we do. So it's just us. It's part of our makeup.
I think also we do make it a priority due to we are flying a lot. We have to be able to be readily able.
Yeah.
I always have it in my head of being able to hold all three girls. I don't think I can hold Olivia anymore, but
Should be holding you.
yeah, exactly. So it's just very important when you're traveling around to be very able to move around and reduce your risks of getting poorly and everything like that. So it is that, and we are very motivated to teach. It's inbuilt in us that we're talking to the girls.
We're both coaches.
We're both coaches.
It's just kind of who we are. It's our makeup. And again, just to emphasize that traveling, and certainly fast traveling and going to places to experience things, you do need a certain level of fitness, and it'd be always good to try and have that bit of an emphasis on fitness and health if you are going to go do something like this, because it does make it a lot better and a lot easier.
Okay, I've got one more that I'm just going to throw in.
Throw it.
One more.
Throw it.
Okay, Miss Fit Female Fitness, just because I like the name.
Okay.
But what are our plans going forwards?
What are our plans going forwards?
Yeah, basically we don't know.
We have no idea. We just kind of
No, we
wing
haven't.
it. We wing it.
No, we don't. We have got kind of a plan, and we are leaving here
Yeah.
on the 10th of July.
Yes. And we are leaving for 5 weeks.
Yes, and we are going to try and do 4 to 5 countries.
Yes.
But saying all of that, we haven't booked one thing.
Yeah, we haven't booked one thing just yet, and it's currently the middle of June, and we leave. So we've got less than a month, but sometimes this happens because we're currently going through some negotiating with some jobs here and there. So if that can change where we go and or when we go to this certain place. So we're waiting for that to settle down or be agreed or whatever. But yeah, we've got a 5-week period between July and August that we'll be out filming some great content. We've got some great ideas.
We're really excited. Yeah.
And that is the short term sort of, that's what we're doing basically.
Yeah, long-term plan. There's about A, B, C, D
Yes.
of our long-term plans, and we're not going to be revealing them as of yet.
But we will be revealing one of those big plans on Sunday.
Nice
so
plug.
Do not miss it. Okay. And that is the show.
We're done.
Episode 3
Wow.
in the bag.
I'm going to let everyone know what time it is.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's tough. It's shocking. But this is it.
Right, so we started at 10:30.
Yes.
Recording this.
11:15.
11:45.
Yes.
It is now.
Oh, it's big.
It is now 20 to 2 a.m.
Yes.
So I'm really sorry. I look completely haggard right now.
We're melting on the sofa.
But we do get carried away in the chat.
And also, this is what it takes. Like the work, you've got to do it. We're putting the effort in. We're committed.
There's no drilling.
No, we can do it. We've fit it in. We're committed to this, and hopefully, you can see that we're committed to this by doing this.
And we actually enjoy it.
And we love it. We do love
Yeah.
it. And also, the reason why it's taken that long is like every 20 to 30 minutes, the cameras kind of get to a heating point. So we've got to cool the cameras down and go again. So it does spread out the time a little bit. That's why it's too late. That's what it's
And
like.
we keep kind of adjusting our position because your CrossFit session earlier, I'm really
tough.
stiff. I
Was it
keep
good?
moving. Yeah, I think I'm going to hurt tomorrow morning. But I've really enjoyed doing this podcast. I've really enjoyed this one. I could have spoke for ages about the girls, and it really did feel like, I think this podcast, this one, I've enjoyed so much because I think it's the closest that we've had where we're just sitting and chatting. 'Cause
Yeah.
this is kind of the stuff that we talk about in the evening.
Yeah.
time.
And we wanted to get to the point where we were sort of just basically chatting between ourselves and kind
Yes.
of, you're kind of a fly on the wall in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It is nearly 2:00.
Yes.
And Chris has got a big workout at 8:30.
I have got a big workout at 8:30, so we need to go. I need to get to bed. I hope you have enjoyed listening to this one, watching this one. If you can hit that subscribe button on YouTube, that'd be great. Or follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review on there, a comment. We really appreciate it.
Are we going to let them know what we're doing next week?
Next week, next episode is going to be about content creation, our job. What is our income? How do we earn it? How do we sustain this lifestyle? That is episode number 4 coming next Friday. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back then next week. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.